welcome to Bingemas, a 12-part holiday special here on the Ringer Podcast Network. I'm your host, Jodi Walker, and we are on day 11, the final week of binging this year's best original holiday offerings with all your Ringer faves. And today that means Christmas at the Catnip Café, the Stefan skit of Hallmark movies, because this movie has everything. A big city girl who's just been too busy to settle down and find love, a small city boy who's just been too generous with others to prioritize himself, a love connection made from the afterlife by a meddling great aunt, and also, and I admit this one was a bit of a twist on the classics, the attempted forced buyout of a cat cafe. Anyway, here to help me break down, I think the silliest, but also maybe most romantic movie of Bingemas so far, I could only turn to one half of our beloved Midnight Boys, the Ringer source of all things magic, marketing, and merriment, and newest bestie of Bingemas, Van Lathan. Merry Bingemas, how are you?
Pew pew! I'm so excited. I cannot believe it. I can't believe Christmas at the Catnip Cafe. I can't believe it. Can't believe it happened.
I can't believe it happened. I can't believe I got you to watch it. I can't believe you came after I got you to watch it. But actually, Van, I'm going to tell you something right off the bat. I kind of liked this movie.
I gotta be real with you guys. I want everyone watching this to hear my voice.
We brought you here to be real, Van.
This movie is so much better than I expected it to be. Can I just say that? Because so look, if people know me, they know that I go into the movies for the enjoyment. I'm not looking to be the guy that shreds a movie and cuts it apart. But my goddamn expectations for Christmas at the Catnip Cafe, which is a ridiculous title, were in the dirt.
Sure.
They were in the trash. I'll say this. This movie was much better acted than I expected. It looked much better than I expected. And it actually had a narrative to where the end, I wanted them to work out and I wanted the stupid goddamn cat cafe to be saved. The movie worked. I don't know what to tell you guys. I know you guys are expecting me to come on here and have something pithy to say about how the movie sucked and it was stupid. It was a Hallmark Channel movie. It worked. The movie worked. It did. I'm sorry, Christmas at the Catnip Cafe. I'm into it.
Van, this is Bingemas. This is a place of no expectations, of no preconceived notions. This is a place of magic. And I want to tell you something. We've watched some stinkers, and I expected Christmas at the Catnip Cafe to be one of them. And, I don't want to imply that this was an excellent movie, but for what it was, you're exactly right to say it worked because it takes the format of the original holiday movie. It's got it all. Someone's dead. Someone's a marketing executive. Someone's coming from a big city. Someone's got a heart of gold. There's a little kid who we eventually find out is an orphan, and we'll get to that. And maybe I cried. I expected it to be so bad because it's about a cat cafe.
You know what the thing about the movie is to me? Is that they were taking it seriously.
Yes.
Our lead here is such a deep exploration of late-stage whiteness.
Mm-hmm.
I was thrilled for him. He is the archetype of the Sweet Home Alabama doctor, the doctor from, there's this 80s movie that no one remembers except for me. I love it. It's called Baby Boom. And in this movie, Baby Boom, okay, I'm just letting you guys know Baby Boom was an exploration, that generation's exploration of late-stage whiteness and capitalism. Mm-hmm. And there's a doctor in that town played by, I think, Sam Shepard, played the doctor. Maybe not Sam Shepard. One of those guys.
It is Sam Shepard.
It's Sam Shepard. He plays the doctor in that movie, and she is corporate, and she's part of the rat race, and she's now trying to go back and fix it. It's very similar. It's similar. That character of this guy's almost always a doctor. He's never a lawyer or a business person because those people are cynical, but some kind of doctor that
he is giving of himself in some way.
And has been humbled by his life of service, and then reminds our go-get-em lady from the city that service is as rewarding as achievement and money, and then they fall in love. Cats everywhere. Well, in Baby Boom, it was, babies and baby food and all that stuff.
Sure.
So it goes back. But like, I love that character. I love these movies. They're never gonna not work as long as they take themselves seriously. And Christmas at the Catnip Café, which is a ridiculous conceit, takes itself seriously enough to get across the finish line.
It takes itself so seriously that the movie basically never explains what a cat cafe is. It just kind of enters into the plot as though we're all on the same page. And maybe, honestly, maybe everyone else is but me. But I was like, at some point midway through the movie, then everyone's starting to try to adopt cats. And I just didn't even know that was part of it. Like, I just thought people were going there to see cats.
What I like about the cat cafe is that you get an exploration of so many different types of people. The guy that works at the cat cafe, the woman that is cat crazy, which is a very funny scene when she comes up to him and she's talking about the fact that you should put some fire people in the little cat play that they did. The cat cafe seems like it's very important to this community, and the guy knows it. These crazy cats are holding this community together. The guy knows it. He's like, you're going to take this cat cafe away, and you're going to make these people's life worse. How bad do you feel about yourself? I'll tell you something else. He never gets down on her.
No, he doesn't.
He never gives her the scene where he says, you know what? Where I'm from, there used to be people like you. People that only cared about how they're going to make a quick buck. Not about the smiles and the laughs of a community, or the tradition that goes into making a restaurant, or how a town comes together on a Sunday night and has dinner. People like you are the reason that America is no longer what it looked like in the past. And I want you to think about that. Think about this. Never, none of that. He would just do little shit. He would go.
That's right. Because, this is an 80-minute movie.
Yeah.
It's like any character growth has to be done while decorating a Christmas tree and also saying which ones of your parents are dead.
The dude goes, the black guy that works at the cat cafe, he's a little icy to her. And he goes, well, he doesn't want to lose his job.
Yeah.
And then it dawns on her. Everything dawns on her in the movie. How many times in this movie did something dawn on her? It dawns on her that when she sells the cat cafe to get the condo, that this guy's going to lose his job. And she goes, well, maybe they'll keep it a cafe. No, they won't keep it a cafe. They're going to make it a parking lot.
No, because this business is absolutely hemorrhaging money. This is a terrible business construct. No one wants to keep it except for this veterinarian with a heart of gold, who obviously by the end of the film, she has given up her whole life for and will be moving across the country to a man who has absolutely no business sense.
He has zero business sense, but he helps animals. And you know what? He doesn't have business sense, but he has people sense. He has love sense. He has community sense. He has all the other senses that matter in a Hallmark movie besides business. And it's funny, when she talked about why she got divorced from the first person, after he gives her...
A reveal that comes 65 minutes into the movie that she used to be married. We're basically at the end.
We're almost at the end. She used to be married. We're at the end. Two things happen in that scene. Number one, our doctor got game, man. He the man.
Okay. I need to tell you something, Van. This is Paul Campbell. This is a Hallmark hunk legend. He is one of the hunks from the Three Wise Men franchise of Hallmark.
What are you talking about?
And he's sort of
what the hell are you talking about?
The Joel McHale meets Adam Scott of
Hallmark.
Hallmark.
Can you just rewind one time? First of all, what is a Hallmark hunk?
What's not adding up to you?
What is a Hallmark hunk? What are the Three Wise Men? Explain this. I don't know. I don't know any other lore. None of the lore do I know.
You're not on these streets, and we're so happy to have you here. A Hallmark hunk is basically a returning handsome man. They put out somewhere between 40 and 80 of these movies a year in a 2-month season.
God damn.
They are churning out so many of these movies, which is why we come here together, which is why we do Bingemas, to talk about how insane these plots are that they're turning out, including Catnip Café. Paul Campbell is a longtime Hallmark male star that we would call a Hallmark hunk. And he has a very specific archetype of this kind of snarky, but heart of gold, very approachably handsome. But in this movie, I mean, I've heard a lot about Paul Campbell. I've certainly seen him in some films. They also do a thing in Hallmark a lot where they recycle. Sometimes they'll pull in the hunk to play a bartender. Like, everyone lives in Canada. They can just come. And that woman that you liked, who was kind of like the comedic one who talked about the firefighters, she's a Hallmark heroine, Kimberly Sostad, who was in the first movie we covered this year, Merry Christmas, Ted Cooper. And she just showed up for a little cameo in this movie. So there's a whole ecosystem that we're dealing in here at Christmas at the Catnip Café.
This makes a lot more sense, because let me tell you why. This entire time, we have our lead, and she's learning about the world. So many things are happening. She wants the condo. But this guy is in such command of this movie.
I know.
They're taking down a decoration or whatever. They're in pajamas, whatever's going on. I mean, I'm talking about a situation that if this is not a Hallmark movie, those two people have sex in that situation. That's what happens. It goes too far, and then they tell their friends, I shouldn't have done this on Christmas, and it's like all weird, and they got to go to the doctor. But like, in this situation, he says something so cold. He asked her, she'd been married before, or she had, whatever. She asked him if he's had someone. He goes, no, it's a small town. He goes, not necessarily a lot of beautiful, eligible women that come through the town, looking to be swept off their feet. Although it does happen occasionally.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, yo, this motherfucker.
She turned to, he was wooing her.
Hey, hold on for a second. This dude the illest, man. He let it, and he didn't say it over the top to go. He let it breathe. He goes, it does happen occasionally. And you see that little smile come, I'm like, he got her. That's it. She done. It's over.
Oh, he had her from the moment she rolls into town and looks through the window of his veterinary of his veterinary practice. She's done no research on who she's coming to meet. And she looks through the window and she is stricken. Like, it's sexy, sexy, sexy veterinarian through the window. And then what should happen? But she gets smacked in the face by a Christmas tree. And that's on Hallmark.
That's. And so I'm watching this whole movie, and I'm watching him, I'm watching her. Nobody plays it super cynically, which I don't know if it's the time in my life that I'm at, or how objectively putrid this year was, but this movie's lack of cynicism really worked for me. It wasn't cynical. It was about people that were making decisions that they didn't realize were not in their best interest or at cross purposes with their long-term happiness. But it didn't have a Darth Vader. It didn't really have anything to say about how shitty people are. It only had something to say about what you can actually get if you're willing to change your perspective, and if you let people in community change your perspective. I know I'm not. You guys go, it's a Hallmark. I'm not trying to act like the fucking movie Citizen Kane or anything. What I'm saying is that I enjoyed the time spent with the cats and the people in the town. I enjoyed it.
Well, the cats are an important part, really, of what you're saying, because, yes, the movie doesn't have a villain. It has like a couple of people who are sort of running at opposites of what would be good for the main characters. And ultimately, any of those people are just fundamentally changed by cats.
By cats.
And like the magic of experiencing cats. Before we get into some of the fundamentals and like what I truly do, I totally agree. This movie had an existential element that I just wasn't expecting, because I think the plot is so thin, like even thinner than most. Then they really get a little time to just dwell in like, who are these people? What do they want? What drives them? What did their parents do to them that makes them feel this way now? Like, we got into some of it. Let me tell the listener the Hallmark synopsis of this movie, so we're all on the same page on what's happening as we get into some of the nitty-gritty cat stuff. Olivia Pierce is a marketing executive from Oakland, California, who is this close to realizing her dream of purchasing a condo, but she's a bit short on the down payment. When she learns that her late great-aunt left her half of a cat cafe in upstate New York, she thinks it's the Christmas miracle she needs. But Olivia's plan hits a bump in the road when she meets Dr. Ben Kane, Is it not Citizen Kane? The veterinarian who owns the other half and has no intention of closing up shop. Christmas is the most important time of the year for the Cat Cafe, however, so Olivia and Ben strike a deal. She agrees to help him plan the fundraising events at the cafe over the next 3 weeks in exchange for Ben promising not to drag his heels on selling at the end of that time. Unless, Ben notes, she ends up changing her mind. A lot can happen in 3 weeks after all. And
Ben was so
it.
confident. Ben was like, you're not going to sell it, man.
Ben said, I am manipulating you.
Yeah.
I am putting you in a position where there's no way you won't fall in love with this cat cafe. There's no way you won't fall in love with this town. There's no way you won't fall in love with me. Look at me. I'm a 6'4" veterinarian. What do you think is going to happen here, lady?
Ben saw it. Ben saw her, and Ben goes, 2 for 1. 1, we're going to keep the cafe. 2, this is my best shot at getting back on the saddle of love.
So you're
not a creeper. No, I'm the guy you plan to meet.
Ben Kane.
Ben Kane. Thrilled to finally meet you. Hi. Oh, yeah.
Nice to finally meet you both.
This is Holly. When I was contacted by Mr. Henry, I was curious to know who the other owner was. I was happy it was Esther's niece. We all were.
You guys, I talk about all of these movies. Doc Hollywood, a movie where this sounds like a Hallmark movie. Go back and watch these movies. Do your homework on this entire. Doc Hollywood is Michael J.
This
Fox.
is your syllabus. This is your Catnip Cafe syllabus.
This is the syllabus.
You're in the black box.
Michael J. Fox is a hotshot young medical doctor who's on his way to Los Angeles to become a plastic surgeon.
Uh-huh.
And his car breaks down in a small town. And he got to get the car fixed. But while he's there, he gets into the whole lore of this town. He understands the doctor and all of that stuff. And he meets a lady and all of that. And what does he learn? The doctor's retiring. They want him to stay. He learns that the small town and being a doctor and service and love and human connection is a bigger deal than going out to Beverly Hills and doing lists for the rest of his life. Every time a movie like that happens, it works. Catnip Café is kind of along the same lines, except for the fact that in this movie, there's a ridiculous conceit of cats in this cafe that we keep coming back to almost for nothing at a certain point.
Can I tell you something? Like my first thought when I started watching this movie, and I know this sounds stupid and insane, but my brain has been addled here at the end of the year. I was like, you know what? I really was not expecting this many cats.
Cats everywhere.
So it is
different types of cats.
So many different kinds of cats. And you gotta hand it to an 80-minute movie that opens with like a minute and a half montage of just cats.
But see, this is the reason why I thought that the movie wasn't going to actually be a real movie. Did I tell you something? This might be the first Hallmark movie I've ever watched.
I was wondering, A, what your relationship is with original holiday movies, if you watch them at all. You know, now everywhere does them, Netflix, Amazon Prime, like everywhere. And also what your relationship with cats is. Okay,
so I'll answer both. So this is my relationship with original holiday movies. I normally despise them, okay? I am a Christmas traditionalist, all right? I believe in Miracle on 34th Street. I believe in It's a Wonderful Life. You know, I believe in Home Alone. These are the movies. Like, this is going to sound really stupid. I'm not a big elf guy. It's too contemporary.
It's very contemporary. I mean, the thing that sets those movies apart in their quality is that you can't churn out 40 Home Alones a year.
You can't.
You know, you got to spend a while writing that narrative, casting that movie, creating that home in Chicago. Like, that takes some time. Here what we have in Christmas at the Catnip Cafe is something that is repeatable.
So the Hallmark movie, to me, when I look at it, kind of what it is, it always looks like busy work for actors. Just to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It looks like stuff.
It looks like a paycheck.
It looks like a paycheck. It looks like busy work for actors that I've known for a long time. But when I watched this movie, and because of that, I expected sort of the camp and the winking that a lot of those types of movies do. a lot of movies that are like that, they know that that's what they're doing. Like if you watch a movie on Tubi or something like that,
Yeah.
the films are entertaining a lot of the times, but they realize that they don't take any actual care with their story. But this dude was in character, man. This dude was he
had a notebook full of notes
Yeah.
of like his family background, where he went to college, what his favorite animal is. Yeah, Paul Campbell had done the work.
right. So what I think about 3 scenes into the movie, first everybody looked great. Everybody was attractive. So I think about 3 or 4 scenes into the movie, I was like, oh, wait a minute now. Christmas at
Recalibrate.
Catnip Cafe. They're not joking with you. Obviously, the conceit is a joke, but they actually want you to believe and care about this love story. I was actually surprised by it. Once again, I was surprised by the quality of acting. Like they're good actors. They're funny and compelling.
And I want you to know something. While every Bingemas movie can ultimately be broken down by the same rubric and in that way is the same, this experience you're having is not always the experience because it's not always there. And these movies don't always take themselves seriously. But the way with which like no one ever laughs at the idea of a cat cafe or of a cat cafe sort of single-handedly holding a community and its adoption process, both human and cat together, is it is admirable, and it does just make the movie sing a little more than it should have. At one point, when they finally meet cute, she learns that her aunt has left her half of a cat cafe that her old ass aunt apparently owned with this like hot young doctor.
Yeah.
She leaves her half of the cafe knowing this is going to be an issue. But at this point, Olivia needs more for her down payment for the condo. So she says, I'm flying across the country, seeing if we can sell this thing. She meets the hot young doctor. They're talking about what's going on in the cat cafe. And he sort of tells her, like, this is more of a passion project. And she's like, oh, yeah, well, I mean, I didn't figure that the cat cafe was making money. And he's like, He's not like, oh, yeah, of course.
No.
He's pissed. The guy who works at the cat cafe takes away her coffee he was bringing over.
Who you talking to?
Yeah, where do you think you are?
How many times? You know how many times in the movie he politely breaks her down? It's like, who you talking to? You understand? We have a community here.
Thin motherfucking Kane.
Yeah, like why are you talking to me like this? You fancy lady from Oakland? You don't talk to me like that. She calls back to her lawyer, black guy. Like, I
loved him.
He was great. Back to the lawyer. He's giving her the real, like, the entire time. But every time she comes back to him, she never one-ups him in a scene, which in a movie where there's a male, female, lady, guy dynamic is kind of, it can be problematic at times because you can look at that and be like, this woman who has her life on her head on straight and all of this, she's being taught the world and what humanity really is by this guy who's going to give her the whole thing. Sometimes, but it never feels that way because he's so nice.
Yeah, there are some things that I like fundamentally don't love, like that he is often sort of negging her and telling her about the world. And also that towards, the middle of the movie when they really start to fall in love and bond, she keeps telling him like, but who's taking care of you? And like, pal, you got to take some time for yourself. And it's like, okay, I've never really met a man who needs to be told by a woman that he needs to take some time for himself.
No. That never. It's like
it's usually sort of like a natural occurrence of events.
We've never really potted together, so you never heard my "Can I just play the game" speech of 2020. Like, can I just play the game? That's the only thing I ask in life. It's nothing else. I'm not asking for anything. I'm not asking for respect, humanity, anything. Just for everything that I do for everyone. Can I just play the game?
Yeah.
I just want to play. I just want to play the game, and that's it.
And are you relating to Dr. Ben in this way?
I'm relating to Dr. Ben, but the only way that I don't relate to Dr. Ben is that Dr. Ben, I never, ever, ever, and I don't know very many guys who could. If you were in the situation that Dr. Ben was in and she came through, I don't know very many guys who will be able to play as cool as Dr. Ben did.
No, you got to lock that down immediately.
You gotta get busy.
And you got to, 3 weeks. She's there 3 weeks. That's not a long period of time.
Not a long period. And you don't have no crazy nice restaurants. You don't have, Dr. Ben was sure of himself. Dr. Ben is like, 3 weeks, you're not gonna sell the cafe. And by the way, 3 weeks of binning, and you're not going to even want to go back to Oakland. But he didn't really do any crazy gestures. Like, he didn't do anything. He wasn't trying to do none of that. He just, life came to him and he grabbed it by the horns.
He's sort of an innocent. Like, he's sort of like a born again, virgin, I guess. Like, what we know about him is that he hasn't dated anyone in 7 years. And that the last woman he dated, he was engaged to, they broke up. And now she's like his best friend, his fellow townsperson.
Yeah.
We find out Abby, who's like, owns the only nice restaurant in town and kind of where he spends all his time.
Yeah, it is one that's right.
And it's kind of like he's moving through life, like filling his time doing things for other people. And everyone around him is like really worried about him.
Yeah.
They're like, you got to go on a date. You got to
Of course they would be worried about him. It would be as if he was 6'8" in a town of 5'4" people and they were all obsessed with basketball. The rest of the town would be like, man, it's cool that you're here, but you need to ply your trade somewhere else. I think you could probably score in other places. But Dr. Ben has no reason to be there, no place to be there. They're looking out for him because he could have so much more. I will say this about the dynamic between the two of them. Think about how much we're talking about Dr. Ben. And one of the reasons is because her character is nothing.
Well, that's an indictment.
Well, I mean, it just, she is like she doesn't really have a point of view. Like she has a point of view and she's something, but like the way the character is written is that she's learning everything through Christmas miracles. Even the want for the condo is not desperate. It seems kind of vapid and fluffy.
And this is like also like a deeply uninteresting condo.
Yeah.
It's nice, sure, but like it doesn't tell you anything about her. And the contrast of her going from this like shiny, whatever condo that she's looking at in Oakland to moving into her aunt's like gorgeous old Craftsman. That actually was a really pretty house. A lot of times these things are made of cardboard. And that seemed to be like a real house with, real like wainscoting. I've said this a lot. I've said this about a lot of men throughout Bingemas this season. She was kind of dumb. And I don't feel great saying that, but like even one of the funniest moments in the movie to me is when she gets a text message while she's knowing that she's got to get some money for this condo. And she says, a meeting about my great aunt's estate. I wonder what that's about. It's like, well, I think probably that your aunt died and she left you something. I think that's probably what it's about.
Yeah.
Everything is just like, you're right. Like everything is always dawning on her or not. And someone else has to tell her.
Now, let me ask you this. The Hallmark movie.
Uh-huh.
I haven't watched a lot of them. I know that some of them are about crimes and stuff. Right? Like, is there true crime, Hallmark, solving mystery type of situation?
Non-holiday movies might be like Hallmark movies. Yeah, might be kind of like solving a crime.
Now, is the Hallmark movie sort of akin to when I was growing up, because everybody remembers Fabio, there was the romance novel, the guy on the front, and this guy normally, the women in these books didn't have very much to do. It was really about the women in the way that they looked at these guys who came in and were kind of like these perfect representations of masculinity and manhood. And it was about the way those women saw those guys, not necessarily as saviors, but as these perfect alternatives to the putrid basket of men that existed outside of them. Is that the same type of situation with the Hallmark movie? Is it possible that the reason why this lady has less to do is because this is actually about how perfect Dr. Ben is and how lucky she is to have met him in the cat cafe across the country?
No, I would not say that that's like always standard in a Hallmark movie. And a lot of times the woman is more interesting and compelling than the man. And we've had a lot of movies this year where a man has basically just like given up the movie that Charles and I covered together, a man basically like stole someone else's identity and traveled back through time and space to support the legacy of the time traveling woman he had fallen in love with.
Sci-fi?
Lightly sci-fi. Yeah, I wouldn't say the science was incredibly sound, but it was there. Time traveling is a big thing in these movies, can be. So like a lot of times the men are there to support the women, but I will say that almost always when it's this kind of dynamic, except for that time traveling one, it's always like if it's a big city woman, and it usually is, because a big city woman is more charming than a big city man, I think, you're always going to end up staying in the small town. It's never going to be like, hey, you know what? I bet there are a lot more veterinarian opportunities in Oakland than there are marketing opportunities in Felicity, New York. It does not make sense for them to move their their joint life that they're creating after 3 weeks to the smaller town, except that she has ultimately also fallen in love with the town.
Yeah. But
which he anticipated, and he did kind of trap her in.
But think about the big city man, though. I don't like him anymore. He's in the tech.
Yeah.
What does he do? What's big city man do? He's a private equity. You know what I mean? Like,
he's finance.
Yeah, he's
finance.
Tech. He's finance. He's tech. Like, it used to be that maybe the big city man was, I don't know, maybe he built something, or he was a foreman.
Architect.
Yeah,
he's usually an architect.
He's an architect or something like that. But now, what is he? What does he do? He works over.
Yeah, he's in private equity. He does like mergers and acquisitions.
Right. And we the first scene we see him, he's looking at a group of properties, and someone looks at him and they go, "Yeah, we can really change these properties and make them useful for all different types of families to live in." And he looks at the guy, he goes, "It's not what we're doing here.
No, that's not why we're here.
We're consolidating, crashing. That's going to be a parking lot for the gigantic, the fucking data center that we're building across the street." Yeah.
What's crazy, Van, is you're actually telling the future as though you are a time traveling person from one of these movies, because the movie that Chris Ryan and I are covering this week is literally about that person, but she's a woman. So it's like a little more acceptable. And of course, she learns the error of her ways. And of course, she didn't know how bad her company was. We'll see, no spoilers. But those are the kinds of like two-dimensional things that you're dealing with here, because the only place that we really have room to get three-dimensional is with Christmas. And in this case, with cats.
Yeah.
It's so many cats. And then they ultimately make like the sort of crux of the film, what drives them together and drives them to these big decisions that they're making about their lives. And I agree with you. Like, I don't know if it's the place that I am in my life, but I just kind of related to some of these things that they were feeling. Like, I've been so busy working or tending to other people or whatever that I almost haven't even what do I want? What are my hopes and dreams? Are they what I'm doing right now? Are they this cat cafe? I don't know, but that's the point they sort of find each other in, and they make this deal. All these movies always have a countdown to Christmas, sometimes multiple. And in this case, the countdown to Christmas is that he has to put on all of these Christmas events at the Catnip Café that formerly her elderly Aunt Esther had put on. And so he's like, if you will use your impressive marketing acumen.
He's a marketer.
Marketing, this week of Bingemas is also brought to you by marketing. That's it's the magic of marketing happening right now. If you can market these events and plan them basically, then I will not stop this sale after the course of 3 weeks. And for me, I'm like, that is not a winning bargain for him.
Well, it is, in a way.
Ultimately.
Because what he's really doing, he's doing two things. Number one, he doesn't like to do the Christmas events. It's not his thing. It's not his bag. So number one, he's getting out of that. But number two, what he's really doing is immersing her into the culture of the cafe.
Yes.
So he's making her, when he says he's manipulating her, that's what he's doing. He's making her.
He knows
like-
what he has.
Right. Just like in Doc Hollywood, in order for him to get his car fixed and all of that stuff, the doctor of the town makes him become the town doctor. So then he meets the townspeople and he becomes a part of the fabric of the town, and then through his proximity and his familiarity with the town, he then starts to love the town, and he doesn't go to Los Angeles. That's what he's doing. What he's really doing is saying, yeah, see the wackiness of the cafe. Love the cats. Rub the cats. Touch the cats. And then
It's really a lot about the cats.
A lot about
it's not
the
like there are a
cats.
ton of like wacky townspeople.
Not really. But also, you'll also get to see just how much the people love the town. Even the guy who was coming around to buy it, he wasn't evil.
No.
At the end, he should have been the evil character. He should have been the one going, like, there should have been something, like, in the different version, in my version of this movie, they're going to kill the cats.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That is
See,
the
in my
like
version of this
101
movie-
Dalmatians version of this
In my
movie.
version of this movie, there's an evil developer, and the
Who's going
developer
to
goes,
euthanize?
yeah, the developer goes like, you know, what we're going to do with these cats. These cats is like, I don't think we have property. The cats are probably going to have to euthanize the cats. And then you have to save the cats. But they don't even do that. They don't need to do that. They don't need to go there. The developer actually, at the end, was like, yeah, you know, I kind of agree with you guys. I think it's better.
Well, and she like, yeah, she gives this big speech. Like she has to convince the developer on why she's not selling. It's like, lady, if you're not selling, he can't make you sell
Right.
this cat cafe. This is your decision. And in many ways, in that way, she is often set up as the villain. Like she is taking the jobs away from the people. She is potentially ruining Christmas and these cats' ability to be adopted. And it's like her learning, but it's not really right because, I mean, she is doing what she feels like is right for her life. She just ultimately is won over by the magic of this town. And of course, this town is not new to her. She grew up.
Been there.
The backstory that we get on her is that her parents were nomads, she says, which means her mom was a photographer and her dad was in finance.
See?
Which I was curious about. This nomadic finance man, but they basically like never had a home. They traveled all the time. And so the closest she knew to home was her Aunt Esther's house where she would go, you know, on Christmases and summers. And she keeps having these like really weird I found those flashbacks pretty unsettling.
That was the wackest part of the movie.
They're very janky. And like, for some reason, they've made the choice to make the child kind of sickly seeming, who is like playing the younger version of her. And even the way she keeps having the flashbacks, it's almost like she's like going into a fugue state. And I guess they're like these emotional flashbacks where she remembers how much she used to love this town. And of course, that she found a cat in a tree and she couldn't adopt the cat. Her aunt had to adopt the cat because she didn't have a home. And that gives her like her main motivation of the movie, which is that she's just always wanted a home.
Yeah, so the movie reached its technical limit with the flashbacks.
They're so bad.
Like the flashbacks is where the movie couldn't go. Because when I watched the film, I'm like, okay, this is kind of playing out. It's a teleplay, right?
Yeah.
It's playing out like you can tell that there's not a whole bunch of scope. These are enclosed sets that they're shooting on, all of that stuff. But they work because it's a television movie and you get it. The flashback part of it is where the technical limits of both the storytelling and the direction and pacing of the movie, that's where the ceiling lay right there.
Yeah, and I'm going to go ahead and say it. I know that's an elderly woman and a child, but it's also sort of where the acting limits met their ceiling as well, given what we were dealing with in the in real time scenes. And I just have to say, you know, we've talked about Paul Campbell and all of his charms. I'll say this later. I like to say, you know, when I cried in the film, when I laughed in the film, I rarely have like sort of a heart flutter in the films. And when he said, he's saying that like all of this is part of his charm offensive. He's loaning her Christmas decorations and she's like, why are you doing this? I'm trying to steal your cat cafe. And he's like, oh, this is all part of it. And you know, that he's going to win her over. And she says, I don't think that's going to happen, busy Ben. And he says, not with that attitude. I was like, call Campbell.
Ben is the man. You know what? I'm going to give you guys the way I look at the romance movie. You can judge a romance movie and how good the romance movie is based upon how good the story would be if the two main characters are telling it to their friends in the future at a party.
Yeah.
So think of the romance movie that you love, right? Just think of it. You know, hey, how'd you two meet? It's crazy. Her aunt died.
Yeah.
And her aunt died, and she had to come back, and, you know, she wanted to sell the Catnip Café. You mean the Catnip Café over? Yeah, she wanted to sell the Catnip Café. Who wants to sell the Catnip Café?
The one we just got married in a year ago.
Yeah,
she wanted to sell that originally.
She wanted to sell
you believe that?
Then I go, I tell the story better than you, honey. I tell the story better than you. She wanted to sell the cafe. So I had 3 weeks, literally. Hey, check this out. I literally had 3 weeks. I had 3 weeks where she was going to put on the events at the Catnip Café. And like, she didn't know that what I was really doing was trying to woo her to keep the cafe, because how could we live without that? And
He's
also,
like, you know the old story, Gift of the Magi? Yeah, I did. I went ahead and did a Gift of the Magi situation with this cat
she doesn't even
cafe.
realize that. And then at the end, she kept the cafe, and she kept the old Ben here. Oh, that's so sweet. That's a good story. That's a good story.
It is
when
a
you
good story,
tell it
but
to your
also
friends.
people would be like, that's fucking insane.
It is, but it's a good story. It's a good story. Like,
it's a great point. And because like I did find this to be a romantic movie. Like the way that they get together, honestly, the chemistry that they develop, they sort of like spend more time in the romance than the zaniness, which I wasn't expecting. Which means that I wasn't prepared, Van, when this, for like this pretty typical Hallmark element of like, we've been seeing this kid throughout the movie. We've been seeing this kid who comes to Catnip Café all the time. His name is Joshy. He is always playing with this cat named Snowball. And I was just like, oh, look at this cute kid in glasses. He loves this cat. I think that was also why I didn't know these cats were up for adoption, because like, why wasn't Joshy adopting this cat? And then what should be revealed to us but that Joshy is in foster care.
Yeah.
And he can't, his foster parents want to adopt him, but they don't know the timeline. And so they can't adopt the cat until they know are some stakes that are set up for some reason.
Tim.
Yeah, it's your classic Tiny Tim. And this is when Olivia sort of has to grapple with, like, is she going to be forcing the sale of a cat cafe before a young boy and a young Snowball get adopted? And it was in that moment that I knew that whenever that story came full circle, I would be crying.
Yeah.
I did not know. Yeah. And just like any setup like that where it's like, oh, I'm setting you up for an emotional moment down the road, I just go ahead and get ready.
Yeah.
Because I'm prepared for that, but there's going to be something that I'm not prepared for, which was the culmination of that storyline, which is that, like, just a couple days later, Joshy gets adopted. Like, it actually doesn't really play into the sale. The timeline's fine. He comes in, they're all excited, the parents and Joshy, and they're like, we're here to put a hold on adopting Snowball because Joshy just got adopted. And of course, Snowball is all excited too. And Joshy looks up at the woman who he has been calling like Lisa, or her first name, for the entire movie. She was his foster parent. And he looks up and says, Snowball was looking for me, right? Mom. Yeah. And then he calls her mom for the first time. Mm-hmm. What are they doing to me?
He wasn't calling her mom before, but this is what you don't know about that story, though. There's more to it. There's a sequel to this movie that's coming out.
Yeah, because you're writing it.
Yeah, I'm writing it. It's called Snowball.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You want a paycheck too?
Yeah, Snowball's
journey.
It's Snowball's fight for survival. Snowball didn't know that Joshy wanted to adopt Snowball so that he could torture Snowball. So,
Van.
Snowball gets adopted.
This is for Lifetime. This isn't for Hallmark.
Joshy, and then Joshy gets there, and the family's there, everybody's there, and Joshy closes the door, and he goes, "All right, Snowball."
Van, you are wearing a Santa hat right
It's
now.
time to find out what's your
Don't do
menu.
this.
And then it's Snowball's fight for life against Joshy. Snowball has to run around. Snowball has to help. The mom doesn't know what's going on. Snowball has to figure it out. And Joshy, we don't know. Joshy got a little Dexter in him.
You know, I don't know that you're far off because Joshy did have a sort of controlling nature to him.
Joshy was sick.
He was at all of the events. Like, these are not highly attended events. And he's at all of the events kind of like telling Olivia what to do and like how it's supposed to go. He has a real run on the Catnip Cafe.
You ever see that movie, The Strange Thing About the Johnsons? You ever see that?
No.
You ever saw that? It's what's his name's first movie? The Eddington guy. You have to.
What about Kevin?
No.
Or not what about Kevin?
No, what about Kevin?
No, not. Okay.
The guy who did Eddington, he did his.
It's Ari Aster's first movie. No, I haven't seen
the short film. Yeah, go check that one out.
Okay.
That's who I imagine.
That's what you're imagining
That's
for
what
the
I
sequel?
imagine Josh to be. Go check that one out.
You hit me with the Hallmark 1-2 punch because I thought you were setting me up. There is a sock puppet show in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
Where they're sort of telling like the meta story of what's ultimately going to happen with the movie, which is like that there's a cat called Snowflake, I think, who's like looking for a family and a home and finds it by accident, which is sort of Olivia's story. I thought that's what you were doing, but you weren't. You were setting up sort of like a sociopath narrative. But speaking of that puppet show, it also, throughout the movie, I just kept everything that Dr. Ben did with the new love of his life, Olivia, I kept thinking about him doing with her great aunt Esther, like cuddled up behind that puppet show platform. Like everything they were doing, I was like, he used to be doing this with an old lady.
Wait a minute. Are you saying that he was hitting on Esther?
I'm curious about their relationship. That's all I'm saying.
It would make a lot of sense, to be honest with you, if he was, because there's two reasons it makes a lot of sense. This is hilarious now I think about it. Number one, Aunt Esther has him around. Why? Hot young doctor to share the cafe with. And then Aunt Esther knows she's out of here. She's like, well, we can't let that go to waste. I got to keep that in the family.
Yeah.
So let me leave it to my niece in Oakland so she can come back down here and she can test it out. So you keep it in the family.
Well, and then she also knows she might be passing on that romantic connection. I don't assume that you watched The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, Van, but there is a pretty wild story within it where this woman, Mary Cosby, is like the head of a Pentecostal church in Salt Lake City. And she was willed.
What about Mormon?
It's not Mormon.
They're not
Everyone
Mormon?
else is Mormon. Many of the other housewives are Mormon or former Latter-day Saints. She is a Pentecostal pastor who has a ton of money. It's very mysterious why. And she was basically willed being the lead of that church and also marrying her step-grandfather by her grandmother. So when her grandmother, who was the head of that church, died, she said, I want you to take over the church and I want you to marry my husband, who is not your blood grandfather, but is your step-grandfather. And it just kind of feels like that's what Aunt Esther was doing here as well.
That's fucking sick.
Yeah, no, I mean, I actually think like
that's a thing that happened in real life?
That's on the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City.
And she married the guy?
She did.
That's fucking
Robert
disgusting.
Sr. It's crazy, Van, and it happened like 7 seasons ago. So we were exposed to it like 7 seasons ago. So we're all kind of desensitized to it, but it's crazy.
What's the age gap here?
He is like probably 35 years older than her.
What type of shit do y'all be watching? I
watch 2 things: Christmas at the Catnip Cafe and The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, and they're kind of similar.
What are these people's names?
Her name is Mary Cosby. His name is Robert Cosby Sr.
This is deeply...
And I believe there's a documentary you can watch about this now.
I'm going to look at it. This is what I'm about to look at. This is deeply disturbing. It
is, but hey, I just want to tell you something. This was payback for that thing that you did about Snowball.
You got it.
Van, we're so lucky to have been joined here together today on Bingemas. It's our first time getting to pod together, and we just, it just like Catnip Cafe, we just kind of have to see how the dynamics break down. And I want you to know, I can go dark too.
You did, because you actually freaked me out a little bit. First of all, the Pentecostal thing was a curveball, and then secondly, so just so I know, her grandmother was married to a guy, okay, and that was her step grandfather.
Yep.
How long was the grandmother married to the guy? Do you know?
Long enough. And he was
long enough
younger.
that her relationship to this guy is that of a paternal grandfather type.
She would say no. Mary would say no. And let's be clear, like Mary is a victim in this and was, she was pretty young. She was like in her 20s when her grandmother died. And
So last question I'll ask about this, because it's not about this.
Sure.
So then, if she doesn't marry the grandfather, does she not get money in the church? She has to do it?
It seems that way. We don't know every single detail, but it was kind of a package deal. And the grandmother chose, of all the family members, she chose Mary, which then also put strains on Mary's other relationships within the family, because she didn't choose her daughter. She chose her granddaughter, much like Great Aunt Esther didn't choose her niece.
How's this? This Game of Thrones shit is not supposed to exist. She wasn't supposed to choose nobody. How's that?
Yeah, no, she wasn't.
There wasn't supposed to be anyone chosen. Nobody should be getting mad about who has to marry their stepdad or their grandfather.
And I think that maybe it's because I know this reality exists. I have had this in my head, and now you have it in yours, and you'll never forget it. I had a lot of questions. Because I've scarred you in this way for life, and you're welcome, and thank you for coming on Bingemas. I had a lot of questions about Aunt Esther, and if what she was doing was actually if it was
choreographed.
Yeah, if it was because she loved Olivia, or if it was because she was kind of getting her back, because we see Olivia get emotional a couple of times about the fact that she not just didn't go to Aunt Esther's memorial, but she kind of seems like she hadn't been in touch with her in a while.
She hadn't seen her in a while. Also, do you think that this is possibly Aunt Esther who is keeping tabs on Olivia, going, she needs to settle down, she needs to kind of get back? Was this all actually not Ben's plan, but Aunt Esther's plan?
Oh, it was absolutely Aunt Esther's plan. And Ben is, I think, just as I believe that Aunt Esther is pulling the sock puppet strings from the grave on Ben and Olivia. I guess the sort of, the Santa part of me wants to think that it's because she was aiming for this happy ending. But the Grinch part of me is kind of I just think that maybe she was sort of mad at Olivia for not seeing her towards the end of her life and being like, I'm going to saddle you with half of a failing cat cafe.
I just thought about another sequel. This sequel is about the fact, the sequel begins, the first scene is Ben, it's their wedding night. And, things are about to get frisky. And Ben says, hey, why don't you wear this?
Oh, boy.
And she goes, what is this? This looks like it's from the 60s or something like that. And he goes, yeah, it was your Aunt Esther's.
Yeah.
And then the movie is actually...
Now we're doing Hitchcock.
Yeah. The movie is about his obsession with Aunt Esther. It's supernatural. Tandy tries to bring Aunt Esther's spirit back through her. The whole deal is it's called Esther. That's the name of the movie.
That's a great name for a movie. And I once again think this isn't that much of a reach, because he was obsessed with Aunt Esther.
He liked her a lot.
He's like, God, Aunt Esther did all of this on her own. There's this whole binder that Olivia is following to pull off all of these events. And apparently this 85-year-old woman is doing it all on her own. And Olivia is a marketing genius, is struggling to keep up. I mean, there just is a world where she's never really going to reach the heights of what everyone thought about Aunt Esther.
Yeah, it's true. I'll tell you what, though. At the end of the day, you know what happened?
Tell me, please.
Love was found.
Yeah.
The cats were saved and adopted.
Maybe.
A child got a home. and Aunt Esther got a sweet blessing in the hereafter. The last thing that she did was put two crazy kids together.
Yeah.
Christmas at the Catnip Café. I liked it. I'm sorry. Let me be honest with you. There were times where I was like, I wish I wouldn't have agreed to do this because I had to sit down, I had to download the Hallmark app, I had to do all this kind of stuff. But I enjoyed the movie. I thought the movie was a lot. I mean, it's not like the movie was a little fun time. It was a fun time.
Hey, sometimes it's just nice to take 80 minutes out of your day, settle down, and see what these crazy kids are up to. And it's really pretty unbelievable that someone likewise sat down and spent 80 minutes writing this movie. But they sure did come up with Christmas at the Catnip Cafe. And Van, I can't thank you enough for doing it. Thank you so much.
Come back. I want to cover another Hallmark movie, but the next one I cover, I want it to be, I don't know.
Yeah, make your requests now.
So what are the genres, before I go, what are the genres that they normally do?
So, like I said, time travel is a big one.
Do they have mystery?
Okay, I feel like the holiday movies are a little bit starting to get into the mystery and maybe even a little scary from time to time.
Oh, I see.
But it's very important that all holiday spirit is fueled by predominantly heterosexual love stories. Christmas is about romantic love. And so that has to be the main thing. And if you can form a mystery around that, then you can. And if that's your request, I'll find it.
Okay. I'll figure one out because I got another couple of days on my trial subscription on the app.
Sure.
And I'm gonna look around and see if there's anything else. I'm also gonna get drunk and watch one of these because I'm gonna spend the rest of this holiday season drunk, I've decided. So I'm gonna get drunk and I'm gonna decide before we go, what's a good one for me to watch drunk?
Are you interested in Netflix or are you only interested in Hallmark?
Doesn't matter.
So Netflix is a little higher quality.
Okay.
There's a little more going on. And although I will say that Sasha is recommending what your boy Charles did with us that I already described, which is Newport Christmas, a time travel Christmas film. And what Charles did, which is unwise, was take an edible before that film. But I actually think you'd be in a much better situation if you just got a little drunk and laughed.
Gotcha. I'll check it out.
You're going to have a great time.
It's going to be fun.
And if you get scared, she's not an American Girl doll. She's just dressed like that. Thank you, Van.
Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you, Sasha. Thank you, Ashleigh. Thank you, Belle. As always, Merry Bingemas to all and to all a good pod. Bye.